Portable fire extinguishers are used for two purposes: fighting small fires and protecting or clearing escape routes. Many employers do not want their employees fighting even very small fires for safety and liability reasons, and others may only want certain designated and specially trained employees to fight fires. Even if your employer has fire extinguishers throughout the facility, that does not necessarily mean that you should use them to put out fires. If your employer expects you to fight small fires in the workplace, they'll make sure that you are properly trained to do so. You should never stay and attempt to fight a fire if you have not been trained and authorized to do so. Even if you're not authorized to fight fires, however, you may still need to use a portable fire extinguisher to help clear your escape route or protect an exit during an evacuation. So it's important for all employees to know how to use a fire extinguisher. You also need to know the locations of extinguishers in your workplace and what classes of fires they are rated to fight. A map of extinguisher locations should be included in the emergency action plan. If you've been given the responsibility of responding to small fires with a fire extinguisher, you'll need to be able to determine whether a fire is too big for you to handle. In general, if a fire is small and contained in something like a garbage can and doesn't involve highly flammable or hazardous material, it's probably safe to put it out with a fire extinguisher. When evaluating whether or not to fight a fire with a fire extinguisher, you have to understand that fire extinguishers contain a limited amount of extinguishing material. The normal 10-pound extinguisher only has about 17 to 21 seconds of discharge time. It's very important to keep this in mind when deciding whether you can fight a fire. If you're in a situation where you don't know how extensive the fire is, you should try to escape the building rather than trying to put out the fire yourself. Most people who die in fires die from smoke inhalation rather than the flames themselves. So you must take the amount of smoke into consideration before deciding to fight a fire. If a fire is spreading, is putting off a lot of heat and smoke, or both, leave immediately. Fire extinguishers work by interrupting the fire's chemical chain reaction. Depending on the type of extinguisher, it will stop the fire either by cooling the burning fuel or by taking away the fire's oxygen supply. Regardless of how the fire extinguisher stops the fire from burning, operating a fire extinguisher is universally the same. There are 4 easy steps called the PASS or PASS technique to help you remember. The letters in the word PASS stand for pull the extinguisher's pin, aim the extinguisher's nozzle at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep the spray across the base of the fire until it seems to be out. If you encounter a fire of any size, the first thing you should do is sound the alarm. This usually means just pulling a lever on a wall-mounted alarm station, but you should check your emergency action plan to see if there are other steps you should follow. Even if it's a small fire that you think you can put out yourself, sound the alarm now so that if things get out of hand, help will already be on the way. Next, if you're authorized to fight small fires, decide if this fire is small enough to safely fight. If you decide to fight, make sure your escape route is clear and not blocked by the fire, heat, or obstacles. Then make sure you can identify the type of fire and have the right type of fire extinguisher, since, as we said before, the wrong type could actually make things worse. Finally, use the PASS technique to put out the fire. After the fire is out, you should still be cautious. Back away in case the fire flares up again. If your fire extinguisher is empty and the fire isn't out, evacuate immediately and wait for the fire department. If you decide to evacuate and can't clearly see the exit, bring a fire extinguisher with you in case you need to fight flames in your path. Stay low to the ground, move away from any sources of smoke, and focus on escaping the area quickly but calmly. Close doors behind you as you go to slow the spread of smoke and fire.